Hello, in this video, we're going to go over how to supercharge your resume and get noticed and actually have your resume be looked at by a human being. And we're going to go through all the tips that are mentioned here. And what typically happens is that when you apply for a job, 100, 500, 1,000 other people might apply for the same job. In most major cities around the world, it is very common to have hundreds or even thousands of applicants for every job. And so how do you stand out? And so to do that, we're going to go through all the tips here. And we're going to start with tip number 1, which is forget the 2-page limit. Fill your resume with words from the job description. Why do we want to do that? So the HR managers, hiring managers, the recruiters, what they do is, let's say they get 1,000 applicants, which again is not uncommon. Nobody's going to look at 1,000 resumes. So what they do is give the resume and the job description, all the 1,000 resumes and the job description, to the application tracking system. It's a software that they have. It comes by a bunch of different names from a bunch of different vendors, but they're generically called software application tracking system. And those application tracking systems, they match resumes to the job description. And the resumes that have the most number of words matching those resumes get top listed. And so from the 1,000 resumes, they might actually look at only 30 or 40 or 50 resumes. So we want to make sure that your resume gets into that top 30 or 40 or 50 list. All right. To be able to do that, you have to have words that are in the job description in your resume. So to demonstrate this, we're going to look at an example resume and some job descriptions. So here we're looking at Sarah Hashimi's resume. She is a Java developer and has worked at a handful of companies. And she is still relatively new to the field. And so she wants to apply to different job levels. And on the right here, I have brought up some job descriptions, some jobs that she might want to apply to. And so we want to see how many words from her resume match the job description. And I've created a simple tool on my website, word matches, that you can also use. And so we can copy and paste her resume in here, and then we can copy and paste the job description in here. And I've just picked this job description randomly. I have not rehearsed this ahead of time. So we'll see what results we get live and organically. And so here we're seeing 79 matching words. Now in this link tree, I have put together a bunch of links, which I'll also put in the description of the video as well. And I will do the same thing with my resume and the same word match checker. And so Sarah is a Java developer, right? And so she would obviously be a decent fit for this kind of role, right? Or this role or this role. But I'm not a Java developer. But let's see how many words from my resume match the job description. Again, I haven't done this or rehearsed this ahead of time. And I'm going to copy all the words from my resume and replace Sarah's resume with my resume. Check matches. 228 matching words. So how does this happen? Why do I, as a non-developer, have many more matching words than Sarah? And why would am I more likely to be in the list of top 30 or 40 or 50 resumes out of 1,000 if I was to apply to the same job? Even though you can see from my resume, I'm not a Java developer. I have cloud, automation, and infrastructure experience. So the reason for that is that over a period of literally 10 years, I keep updating my resume to have as much content as possible. And my resume is literally 10 pages. So you have to have the words that are in the job description in your resume. That includes technical words and non-technical words, designing, developing, maintaining, but also Postgres, Linux, Kubernetes, right? But obviously, if you don't have experience with Kubernetes, you wouldn't put Kubernetes on your resume. But if you're applying to 20 jobs and you see that 10 or 15 of them have the word Kubernetes in there, that's a hint for you to learn Kubernetes. And just like Sarah has done, she has put Kubernetes basic. Maybe she spent a few days learning about it and she has some basic knowledge of Kubernetes and she's being transparent about that in her resume. You can do the same thing, right? The words that are in the job description must be on your resume, okay? And we just demonstrated that with a non-developer resume getting 3-4 times as many word matches as a developer resume, simply because I have more words on my resume. And so that's why I'm more likely to match many of these words and many of these words. And so you have to have words that are in the resume, in the job description, in your resume. So that's number 1 most important rule. Second most important rule, only get advice from experts. So I've been doing this, basically helping people update their resumes, LinkedIn profiles for 12 years. As of time of recording, I have helped more than 450 people. This method gets results. So if you have a broken leg, you would go to the doctor. If you need to replace the switch in your room, in your house, you would go to the electrician. No matter how smart your doctor is, you would not ask your doctor to replace a switch in your room. You wouldn't trust them with it, even though they are probably a very intelligent person because they have managed to get through med school and become a doctor, right? So similarly for resume, unfortunately, people take advice from anybody and everybody. You have to take advice from people who know that they can guarantee you and get you results. Everything I'm telling you is based on helping more than 450 people one-on-one over the last 12 years. Now, what would happen over time is that, let's say Sarah starts adding a number of these words to her resume and adds words from this job description, goes here, and then realizes that the word capability is missing in her resume. She can find a creative way to add that in her resume, and she adds that, and then adds more and more and more. Over time, instead of 2 or 3 pages, her resume will become 5 or 6 pages, and that's 100%. Nobody will ever complain to you that your resume is too long. I can almost guarantee that. So at the same time, we have to keep in mind the human being that's going to actually look at your resume. So to make sure that we also cater to the human being, you want to make an impressive 1-page version of your resume, okay? But we don't just make a 1-page version. We make resume summary version and then add it to our resume. So that's exactly what I've done here. So this is, I call it resume highlights. You can call it resume summary. You don't even have to give it a title. I like to personally call it resume highlights, and then my detailed resume is below that. And this summarizes my experience and major accomplishments and major education and certifications and things like that. And then if somebody really wants to know what I did at this role, they can scroll down and take a look. And somebody really wants to know what I did at this role, they can scroll down and take a look. If somebody really wants to know what this project was about, they can scroll down and take a look. And details are all here, right? So this is a good way to cater both to the machines as well as the human beings. Next rule, don't be humble in your resume. Resume is not the place to be humble. You wanna really highlight your skills, and always be transparent, right? Nobody wants you to lie. If you lie, you will get caught. You don't wanna be in that situation. That's always a terrible situation. But you don't wanna be humble either. If you led a project, say you led a project. If you built something innovative and amazing, say you built an amazing, innovative solution or product or app, or led an amazing project or whatever it is, right? So make powerful headlines. So this, I'm not really happy with this term, but that's what I just called it, headlines. So basically your name should accompany some of your major accomplishments, certifications. For those of you who have your masters and maybe PhDs, put that there. Those of you who are engineers, put that there. I just did a degree in psychology, so that's not too relevant, but my certifications are more impressive, so that's what I put here. So you want to put some of those major accomplishments besides your name, so people know right away, hey, you have a master, you have a major certification, etc. Right? As you're updating your resume, keep duplicating that content from your resume to your LinkedIn. So your LinkedIn should basically look like a carbon copy of your resume. So that's pretty straightforward. So whatever content you have in your resume, it should here copy and pasted on LinkedIn as well. So if you go look at my LinkedIn profile, you'll see this content there, you'll see this content there, you'll see this content there. It's copy and paste exactly the same thing, especially in North America and Europe, but in many other parts of the world, LinkedIn is the primary, if not one of the most primary sources of where people get recruited for jobs for. So LinkedIn is king in most regions of the world. So paste recommendations that you have gotten on LinkedIn onto your resume. This is something that I've gotten amazing feedback on over and over again from recruiters, from HR people, from hiring managers. And so this also further helps you with your in your resume and having more words in your resume as well. Okay, if you go back to my resume, I have 20 something recommendations, and I've copied all of them. If you don't have any LinkedIn recommendations, ask your friends, ask your coworkers, ask your previous coworkers to give you some recommendations. And once you have at least 2 or 3, then add them. Okay, only 1 copy of your resume. Okay, one of the most common, not useful, not result oriented advice that people get is tailor your resume for every job that you apply to. No, don't do that. What that would do is, let's say you have a 3-page resume and you tailor that to a particular job description. You're gonna add a bunch of words and you're gonna remove a bunch of words. At the end of the day, you're gonna have the same number of words. And then you'll apply. And maybe 80 words match. But somebody else has a 5-page resume where they have 200 words matching or 150 words matching. They're gonna get on that top 30, 40, 50 list, and your resume is never gonna get looked at. So practically that advice, it makes sense. It sounds intuitive, but practically it does not get you results. What is the result that you want? You want your resume to get looked at. You want your resume to get selected for an interview. Okay, I want to come back to this point just for a second. That highlights page that I mentioned earlier, you want to make sure that it looks good too. It should be something visually appealing. Mine is not a good example. I recommend people to have some color in their resume, just a tiny bit, some hints of blue, green, whatever color appeals to you, right? And just so that it stands out a little bit. It should look aesthetically pleasing, okay? Projects to your resume. So a lot of people in their roles, in their different roles over the years, they do amazing, amazing projects, right? But they kind of lost in the job description. There's no place like resume to add them, right? So you can have like a dedicated project section if you're in a type of role where you do a lot of projects. And so here on the link tree as well, if this kind of resume appeals to you, you can have a resume like this where you highlight your projects, highlight your courses, education and certifications, right? And so this could be the detailed resume, and then you still add the 1-page summary resume, first page on top of that. Okay. Last but not least, make a blog post. You can go to wordpress.com and make a blog post for free easily. And so easy to have a blog post and add on a blog post, right? This is my WordPress resume, WordPress blog post, and it has a bunch of stuff that I've been working on as in my different technical roles. And every couple of months, I add a new blog post. And over the last 10, 12 years, I have like blog posts now, roughly. I forget exactly how many, but it's somewhere in that range. It's so easy, like Press makes it so easy to add blog posts. And you might already even have some content, some material that you can use to blog post, right? And you can just tell ChatGPT to generate a blog post for you, and then it will do like a 70-80% good job, and then you can change some of the content to make it accurate, right? So I'll give you an example right now. So for example, go back to my resume, and this can work for anything, right? You might have some notes or anything like that. So I'll go to my resume for a second. Actually, I'll go to this person's resume, right? I'll do this, okay? A 3-paragraph casual sounding blog post about this content, and then copy and paste. Okay, I go to WordPress and create a new blog post. Okay, come back here, copy and paste, right? I literally just did that in like 50 seconds, right? And if I just spend like a couple minutes just editing this a little bit and make sure everything is in here is accurate, because it's not always accurate, there I have a blog post. And I could even like a screenshot in it, right? You can, when you're working with WordPress, you can just literally just add a screenshot, okay? Copy and paste it in and then publish, okay? So now if I go to my own website, somanlakvi.com, that blog post that I just added with the image is right there, okay? It's so easy to add content. And so that's the last thing. And one more thing I'll mention just before the end is on your resume, obviously when you have a blog post, you want to make sure that you have a link to that blog post on your resume, right? So in my case, I do. If you are a developer or in general and you have a GitHub account, add a link to your GitHub account too, okay? We'll take a look at your GitHub account and all the interesting things you're doing in GitHub. That's it. If you follow all of these methods, especially in combination, you are almost pretty much guaranteed to have your resume be looked at. And that will increase your chances of getting calls for interviews. And then when you do get a call for an interview, you can prepare for interviews using my free book, which is also in the link tree that I shared previously, which I will also link in the blog post. This is 100% free and can be shared without modification with anyone. Feel free to read through this and to help you prepare for your interview. Thank you. I hope that's useful. Good luck with your resume and your job search journey. Thank you. Bye.